Hey, what's up, everybody? Mr. BuildWealth. And as always, this is your first time tuning in. I'm here to share information and resources that can help you get started with building wealth. The title for this session is How to Deal with the Pressure. I want to start this story and talk about like the people in your life. And I mean like your family. And I'm talking about your significant other. They sometimes will put pressure on you to make decisions that will affect you financially. And you've got to get really, really comfortable on how to handle this pressure from these people who you love, who you care about, who you will do a lot of things for. And I find myself trying to help people to sort through some of these, I'll say, issues or conflicts that come up because it's somebody else who is kind of pressuring you to do something for them. And a lot of times there's no reciprocity is what I really want to get at. And so I think about this one story. I had a client who was sharing with me that, the I think it was the husband. So the husband was pressuring the wife. I flipped that. Somebody was pressuring somebody to really pursue like home ownership. And they were not in a financial position to really be an owner. And the conversation I was having with this couple was, you've got to learn how to figure out like what's most important. And I don't think it's this house. They had some credit issues. They didn't have a lot of savings. And as I try to share with people is you need to be financially, I don't know, I'm not going to say set. You need to be in a very strong financial position if you're going to pursue home ownership. And so the reason that one of them was so passionate about owning a home is because the family kept saying, well, you're this age, you should own a home. And so this pressure was coming from like both of their families. And I'm like, can y'all tell them you're not in a position, like your credit is shot, you have no savings. So why do you all feel like you have to succumb to that pressure as opposed to getting your financial house in better shape, which will better prepare you for the house? So I come across this a lot where we're just not like comfortable, kind of like pushing back. Like, hey, I know you want me to do something. And how are you going to help me get there? I have a lot of examples where, again, you may be earning a decent wage and somebody will say, well, why do you still rent? Why don't you own? Or this is a good time to own. And they always make up some excuse as to why you should do something financially. And so I've had another, client share with me that, it was a member somewhere back in the South. And they were like, you should buy a house here. And they had this whole grand scheme. And all I said to my client was, tell me how this makes sense to you. Because it sounds to me like you're going to be putting up most of the money and most of the responsibility is going to fall on you. But yet this family member was pressuring them to make this purchase. And then I said, well, is this family member going to put up any money? Are they going to help you manage the property? So why do you feel like you have to own right now? And so a lot of times we're struggling to make wise financial decisions because of what like family or friends or your significant other, or maybe it's just societal pressures. Maybe you just keep following people on social media who are posting about every single thing they're doing, and you're trying to figure out how can you get what they got. And what you're not figuring out is it was a process. It was a journey that they went on some time ago. And everybody's got a different story. But you have got to learn, how do you deal with the pressure from society, your family, your friends, your significant other? Because a lot of us are putting our financial houses in disarray, or we're not focused on building a strong financial house in general. And so we're succumbing to this pressure of always trying to please somebody else who ain't putting up no money. Look, I'll do everything you want me to do if you are investing in me. If you're not going to make the investment in me, it's just your opinion. And I don't have to take it. I don't have to listen to you. But somebody's always got an opinion. Here's what I would love. I would love your opinion and some money. How about that? So the next time you say, well, you should have this type of car, you going to make the car payment for me? Are you going to take the car to the shop when I need it? And I've heard this before personally because I myself I've had to deal with the pressure. So I've been in financial services, I've been an advisor, I work for all these different firms, and people just said to me, because you're a financial guy, why don't you have like an expensive car? And I was like, because I'm not trying to pay that maintenance right now. Like a car is a depreciating asset. And people kept saying to me, well, because you're a financial advisor, you need to have a Benz, a Beamer, like just something fancy. And I was like, who's your advisor dealing with? Because I know a lot of successful people in financial services who don't have fancy cars. They got big houses, they got fat bank accounts, fat investment accounts, fat retirement accounts. And so what I see is you placing your value on things that actually aren't that important. But again, I've had to deal with that pressure as well. And it took me some years to get comfortable with this. But the next time somebody pressures you into making some type of financial commitment or decision, always come back with, what are you willing to do to help me get what you think I should have? If you putting up money, let's rock out. If not, kick rocks. I mean, however you want to phrase it. But you have got to figure out how you are going to deal with this pressure, because a lot of times the people who want to see you do all these things will never put up any money. So I need you to figure out how to deal with this pressure, no matter where the pressure is coming from. Always think to yourself, what's in my best interest? Somebody's always going to give you their opinion. And a lot of times they're not going to put up any money. They're not going to support you in whatever they want you to buy or to invest in. And if they're willing to help you along the journey, then maybe we're having a different conversation here. But I keep finding people who are having to deal with all this pressure. Like, if they're not going to pay for it, you just got to know, just let it go. Or just take the talk. It's just talk. Again, I would love to have a fancy car and stunt on everybody. But I'm just not wasting no money on no car. I'm not riding around town picking up clients just because of my fancy car. I get clients, hell, I don't even have a car right now. So we keep finding things to spend money on that aren't that important in the grand scheme of our financial plan, but yet we're, again, having to deal with these pressures from society, and then it puts us into a jam. The last story I'll share around this pressure, and it's kind of around this car thing. So this is multiple friends of mine, clients. So depending on where you live in a metropolitan area, sometimes you don't need your car. And this is pre-pandemic. You can just get on a train and get everywhere you need to go. Maybe you drive your car on the weekends because you live out in the suburbs. And I kept finding people who lived in the burbs, but who worked in downtown Oakland or downtown San Francisco. And so I was like, why you got that car just sitting at your house costing you money? You don't even drive to work. So you can't even stunt on your coworkers because you ain't driving to work. Or you're driving to the station and your car is staying parked all day in a garage or in a parking lot, and then you're getting on the train. So I was finding people who have these expensive cars. You pick your favorite brand, and the car's just sitting at the house most of the time. Now, we know there's some startup companies that started, allowing the average person to rent their car to people, but those didn't exist that long ago, right? So at some point, most people have cars and they just sit out in a garage, in the parking lot, on the street, and they are just draining you for money. But yet what people will say to me is, well, I have this job and this title, so I need to have this type of car. And I was like, for real? But again, societal pressures, right? Society says I need to have this car to validate that I'm a success. Well, certain people in society would agree with you. Some of the wealthy ones would say, show me your bank accounts, your investment account. Show me something else that has real value that appreciates, not some car that just costs you money. I'm not knocking folks who have nice cars. It's just I know they're paying a premium in service, and the insurance is probably a little bit higher than a more affordable vehicle. But when you can afford a really nice car and the rest of your financial plan is on point, ball out. Ball out. But until that point comes, you have got to stop dealing with this. Well, I'll say stop. You gotta stop doing what people want you to do, and then just think to yourself, what is it that I want to do? What's in my best interest? The pressure is never going to stop coming. The more successful you become, the more pressure you will start to receive from everybody, your family, your friends, all of that good stuff. And so you have got to figure out, can you handle the pressure? And if not, I need you to figure it out. If I can help you, holler at me. Hit the link in my bio. Maybe it's just a 15-minute phone call. I'm going to keep asking you to holler at me, because I think if we just have a real conversation about what you're doing, you won't worry about that pressure. That pressure will just subside. It's incredible once you begin to open up and have this conversation with somebody, or I'll say somebody, anybody. Like, just have the conversation with the professional who can help you think through this. All right. And I can perhaps help you deal with some of this pressure that you're feeling. So with that, I bid you all farewell. If I can be of service to you, let me know. But again, this pressure, you don't have to keep dealing with it. All right. Talk to you next time.